Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we have a really clear mission.
hmm
You're thinking about selling or maybe buying a digital business, a website, an e-commerce store, something like that. And the big question is, do you go with Flippa or do you use Empire Flippers?
Right. And we're going to use the data on fees, on vetting, on everything to really figure out which one is the right match for you.
Because it's not just about the numbers, is it? We were looking at this and it's really about two completely different visions for how a marketplace should even work.
That's it, exactly. It's a philosophical divide.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Flippa. Flippa's the huge open one, right? The digital Wild West, you could call it.
Totally. They do billions in transactions. You can find anything on there from a $500 starter blog all the way up to $1 million SaaS business. It's all about sheer scale.
And then on the other side.
And then you have Empire Flippers, or EF. And they have very deliberately positioned themselves as the, let's say, the luxury curated option. They're
Yeah.
gatekeepers.
A strict gatekeeper, from what I understand. Tell us about their standards, because they sound pretty intense.
Oh, they are. To
Mhm.
even get listed on Empire Flippers, your business has to show first at least $2,000 in monthly net profit.
Okay, so that cuts out a lot of people right there.
A ton of people. And you need a full 12 months of that history. They manually review every single submission.
And the rejection rate is what?
It's astonishing. They reject 90% of all applications.
Wow. 90%.
So when you're browsing EF, you're only seeing maybe like 100 super vetted active listings at any given time.
That just completely changes the feel of the marketplace. I mean, compare that to Flippa's scale. They use AI to make 400,000 buyer matches every single week.
Right. And that exposure is huge. You can't deny it. But that's the trade-off.
What's the trade-off?
Well, with Flippa, you get thousands of options, but that also includes a lot of, well, noise.
Mm-mm.
Sites that never made a penny, listings that aren't properly vetted.
So the buyer and the seller has to do a lot more work, more due diligence.
Way more.
Okay, so if the bar to entry is that high on Empire Flippers, I'm guessing this all comes back to the fees. The money has to tell a different story.
It does. They're completely different models. So Flippa charges you an upfront listing fee.
Right.
It can be anywhere from, say, $29 up to almost $700.
Wait, $699 just to list?
Yeah.
For a DIY service?
Yep. And then they take a commission when it sells, anywhere from 3 to 15%.
Okay, so how does Empire Flippers compare? They have no listing fee, right?
Zero listing fee. But, and this is the big but, they hit you with a flat 15% commission on everything sold for under $700,000.
15%, that is steep.
It is. So the real question for you listening is, what are you actually getting for that extra money?
You're paying for the hand-holding. You're paying to save time and for that quality control.
Exactly. ES team verifies the income, the traffic, all the business operations before it goes live. They assign a professional broker who handles all the negotiations for you.
Whereas on Flippa, you're doing all of that yourself. The negotiations, the buyer questions, it's the full DIY experience.
Totally. I remember years ago trying to sell a small site on a platform like that, and the amount of time I spent just dealing with fake offers.
Yeah.
Honestly, that 15% starts to look like a bargain just to avoid the headache.
That makes a lot of sense. So for you trying to decide, the takeaway seems pretty clear.
I think so.
If you have a serious established business, let's say making over $50,000 a year, and you just want a professional vetted process, then Empire Flippers is probably your choice. That 15% buys you peace of mind.
Right. And if you're a DIY entrepreneur or you have a smaller deal or you just want total control over the process and access to that giant pool of buyers.
Then you go with Flippa. You just have to be willing to do the heavy lifting yourself. It's not about which is better. It's, are you looking for a brokerage or a bulletin board?
That's a great way to put it.
So as we wrap this deep dive, here's a final thought to chew on. You've got one platform using AI to match 400,000 buyers a week, and another that manually rejects 90% of everyone who applies.
Scale versus curation.
Exactly. So long term, what does that mean for how we value digital businesses? Will the market price ultimately be set by massive automation and scale, or by rigorous human-led quality control?
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? Something to think about as you plan your next move.